He question landed like a quiet explosion in a room full of power and glass walls, stopping time for everyone who heard it. A successful CEO, used to boardrooms bowing to her authority, stood frozen when a little girl looked up at her with complete innocence and called her mommy, forcing a past she had buried her eyes and demand an answer she was not ready to face. If you believe in kindness and second chances and in the strange ways broken lives can heal each other, take a moment now to like this video, share it, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that the greatest turning points often come from the smallest, quietest moments. Claire Whitmore had built her empire in the United States from nothing but relentless discipline and emotional walls thick enough to keep out every distraction. By 40, she was the CEO of a national logistics company, respected, feared, and admired for her sharp decisions and calm authority. Her days were scheduled down to the minute. Her nights spent alone in a luxury apartment overlooking the city, and her past locked away behind achievements and headlines. People knew her as brilliant and untouchable, but no one knew how deeply lonely she was, or how carefully she avoided anything that resembled family. Daniel Harris lived a very different life. Once a promising engineering student, his world collapsed when his wife died during childbirth, leaving him alone with a baby girl and a grief so heavy it crushed every dream he had planned. Bills piled up, opportunities vanished, and exhaustion became his constant companion. He took whatever work he could find, eventually landing a maintenance job at Claire's company headquarters. It paid little, but offered health insurance and stability, which mattered more than pride. Daniel's daughter, Emily, was 4 years old and bright in a way that softened even the hardest rooms. Because Daniel could not afford full-time childcare, he sometimes brought Emily with him early in the mornings or late evenings, keeping her quietly entertained in empty conference rooms while he worked. Most executives never noticed. Those who did usually looked away. Claire noticed. At first, it was just awareness, a child's laughter echoing faintly in hallways meant for serious conversations. Then it became curiosity. Claire found herself pausing when she saw Emily drawing on scrap paper near the window, humming softly while her father fixed lights or cleaned floors. There was something about the child's calm presence that unsettled Claire in a way she could not explain. Over time, small moments accumulated. Emily waving cheerfully when she saw Claire. Emily leaving little folded paper hearts on desks she thought looked sad. Emily once falling asleep in a chair outside a meeting room while her father worked overtime. Claire told herself it meant nothing, yet she began adjusting her schedule to avoid meetings during those hours, drawn by something unfamiliar and uncomfortable. The real shift happened during a company charity event. Employees brought families, donors filled the space, and Claire moved through the crowd with her usual composed grace. Daniel was there too, nervous and out of place, holding Emily's hand. The room was loud, overwhelming for a child, and Emily slipped away in the crowd, frightened and crying. Claire was the one who found her first, crouched behind a table, shaking and overwhelmed. Without thinking, Claire knelt down, wrapped her arms around Emily, and soothed her until the panic passed. Emily clung to her instinctively, resting her head against Claire's shoulder as if it was the safest place in the world. Something inside Claire cracked open in that moment, a warmth she had not felt in decades. From that day on, Emily became attached to Claire in a way no one expected. Whenever she saw her, she smiled with unfiltered trust. She drew pictures of Claire holding her hand. She asked when Claire would come back. Daniel noticed, confused but grateful that someone powerful treated his daughter with such gentle care. Claire tried to maintain distance, but it grew harder. She began asking Daniel about Emily's favorite foods, her fears, her dreams. She arranged flexible hours for him, without making it obvious. She found herself waiting for mornings when Emily would be there, brightening sterile hallways with her presence. Then came the day that changed everything. Emily ran toward Claire in the lobby, wrapped her arms around her legs, and loudly called her mommy. The room went silent. Employees froze. Daniel's face drained the color. Claire felt the word hit her chest like a physical blow. Later, alone in her office, Claire asked a question that had been echoing in her mind since that moment, asking Daniel why his daughter would call her that. Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled beneath the desk. Daniel's answer was not dramatic, but it shattered her defenses. He explained that Emily barely remembered her biological mother, only fragments of warmth and safety. Over time, Emily had associated those feelings with Claire. The way she listened, the way she protected, the way she made space for her without obligation. To Emily, Mommy meant safety, not biology. The truth stirred memories Claire had buried. Years ago, she had given up a child for adoption after a brief, painful relationship and a time in her life marked by fear and instability. She had convinced herself it was the only way to survive. She never searched, never spoke of it, and never allowed herself to imagine what that child's life became. Emily's age fit. Her eyes fit. Even the timing felt wrong in a way that felt horrifyingly right. DNA testing confirmed what Claire already knew in her heart. Emily was her daughter. The revelation did not bring instant joy. It brought grief, guilt, and fear so intense Claire considered walking away entirely. She was terrified of disrupting Emily's life, terrified of being unworthy, terrified of loving someone who could be taken from her again. Daniel struggled too. He feared losing his daughter, feared the imbalance of power, feared being erased from her life. But what anchored them both was Emily's quiet happiness, her sense of belonging when all three were together. Slowly, carefully, they built something new, not through grand gestures, but through shared meals, park visits, bedtime routines, and honest conversations. Claire learned to soften. Daniel learned to trust. Emily learned she did not have to choose. Claire stepped back from her role temporarily, shocking the corporate world, choosing instead to show up for school events and late-night fevers. Daniel returned to school, supported by Claire but never overshadowed. Together, they created a family that did not follow traditional lines, but felt real, safe, and deeply earned. Just before the story ends, take a moment to comment below and share what part of this journey moved you most. Your voice might remind someone that healing often comes in unexpected forms. The CEO who once ruled from behind glass walls learned that the most powerful title she would ever hold was not earned through success, but through presence, patience, and love. And the little girl who asked an innocent question reminded everyone that sometimes the heart knows the truth long before the world is ready to hear it.